Hello, everybody. This is Vivian Xavier for another edition of Gandhara Independent Film Festival 2020 panel session. We're going to be talking to Alexandre Dostie. He is an artist in his own right, a poet, a filmmaker, as well as the core chairman of Traveling Distribution, which is a distribution company solely looking at short films. It runs out of Quebec, Canada, and I'm really excited to talk to him today to understand the machinations of what goes behind distributing a film, especially a short film, and what sort of strategies are involved, and what's the future for distribution, especially during the pandemic, and also looking at how how things are going just generally with films globally. So. Let's start talking to him. Hey, Alexander, how are you doing?
Hey, Vivian. I'm good, and you?
I'm very well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm just going to start by asking you to talk a little bit about yourself, and then talk about how traveling distribution came about. Why do you think there's a need for it? And then we can take it from there.
Great. Well, I'm not from a cinema background at all. I come from a very rural little town in Quebec near the USA border, and a very blue collar, hardworking town. And cinema and art was very far from me, but through kind of chances and meeting people and getting friend with people, at some point I was offered a job as a distributor of short film. The girlfriend of one of my friends started traveling in 2007. It was a very young business, just starting with this kind of new model of small catalog of great Quebec short film that we would distribute around the world and stuff like that. I didn't know nothing about it, but I really liked the girl who started traveling, and I needed money. I was super broke, and I was ready to do, anything. And working in cinema, like I always liked cinema, and I saw like an opportunity of a cool job there. So basically, I started working there in 2009. I was doing like submission and sending films, and back in the days, it was done all by hand. And I don't know if you lived through this period.
Well, I haven't done that sort of work, but I know how it is, or how it was back then, because I still remember VHS and DVDs and CDs, and now everything is digital. So it's
God bless, man. It really changed the game. But yeah, back in the days, we could spend like $400 a week just sending stuff all over the world. And well, basically, we kind of made a name for us in that way, in that fashion, like uncovering all those festivals all around the world that were pretty unknown back then, like in Quebec. It was like before Film Freeway and those awesome platforms, So that's how we made a name, basically. And in 2012, Catherine, the founder of Traveling, she went for other venture, and she asked me and my partner Mary Pierre, we were both working there at the time, and she asked us if we wanted to take over the business, and we said yes. And from that point, we started to integrate to our catalog some international title. We boosted our number of selection to festival. We kind of shrink a bit our selection of film around really heartfelt, a very heartfelt selection. And we kind of expanded on the sales we were doing of our catalog, and the representation in festival we were doing of our film. And now we're in 2020, and I think we're in a super good spot. Like, the Traveling has a great name all around the world. Our catalog is awesome. Last year, with 20 film, we registered something like more than 900 selections around the world, more than 100 prizes.
Awards, yeah.
Yeah, it was an incredible year. And I think it's funny because it comes at a time where I think distribution business is changing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very intriguing for me as well, because and I'm also intrigued that it's something that you just fell into, because a lot of people would, they want to become filmmakers, or even if they think about distribution, a lot of people think about just a long form, feature films or whatever. I don't think people look at short films as something that requires serious merit.
Hmm.
So, it's how would you sort of look at it? Is it different from distributing feature films? What are the differences, at least,
Well,
or similarities?
I never distributed feature film. Like at traveling, that's kind of what's special
Hmm.
about our model. We've been doing that for 13 years now, and we're only giving all our energy to short film. We think there's like enough job in there to keep us busy, and we find a way to kind hustle our way through. Now we're 4 employees, everybody get paid. So we like our model. Every year we find ways to improve ourselves. So we keep on that track. I think distributing short and feature is like two world anyways. So I did not experience it, but from what I see from colleagues and other business that are doing both, it looks like it's very different. That being said, like for me, I saw the value of short film skyrocketing like in 10 years. 10 years ago, it was much more a niche of cinema than it is today. It is still a niche today, but the value of a short film, from my perspective, have greatly expanded, and it's worth a good short film worth more today than 10 years ago. And why I think is because first there is like much more content being produced, and when you can get that short film that get a super festival runs, sales, and broad audience when it gets to stream on the internet, it means you're on top of a lot of people, and executive from big studio now notice the values of that. They see short filmmakers as the feature filmmakers of tomorrow, and kind of horses on which to bet, in the future. And if you go, like if you win at Sundance, or if you win at or even if you just selected like in Sundance, Cannes, Locarno, Venice, all right there you get all these eyes, these business eye that gets on you and your work, and some doors suddenly appears. And I don't think it was that systematic 10 years ago, and now I think it is. And you see a lot of stories of short filmmakers that like will win in these big festival and will be offered to transport their short film into a feature film, with money like already available. This is now a much more frequent scenario than 10 years ago. But like I said, the competition now is just super crazy.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with the availability of resources, like
Yeah, it makes
cameras
a
and
huge difference
LED
for you
lights and
guys.
stuff. Yeah,
It's crazy, and that's what like this is a huge factor on how I think short film festival circuit developed, but as well how it brought up the competition to a whole new level, having like countries from third world country, or where the talent was there, but the resources was hard to get your hands on. And now you guys are in the game, and really you have a nice place in every competition in the world. And I think the whole world is now mature and ready to receive and understand, and is curious about you guys' perspective on the world. So I think this is really an awesome time for people like filmmakers that will participate to Gandhara Independent Film Festival.
Yeah. We actually have a few films in the recent years. They've been making waves, going to Locarno and going to Sundance, or to the bigger festivals. but a lot of them also have been co-produced, and I think that's, with the the spread of technology, you can sort of meet up with filmmakers from all over, and sort of, universally your stories, they sort of resonate, so they're able to come on board as well. I think that's also some of the, one of the advantages that has happened with, this with not just the digital sort of world that's sort of becoming easy to access, but just the access of talent, and people like 10 years ago it would have been difficult for me to talk to you, and just
Yeah, totally, man. You're
you
right.
know
Yeah,
so
and I think it's like this is not fringe anymore. You know, a
mm,
Pakistani guy from Pakistani festival that talked to a Quebec distributor and exchanging and connecting on what it is to make and distribute and share a short
exactly.
product. It's pretty awesome.
Exactly, it is. So, just moving along to the strategy that traveling distribution uses. Like, is there a particular strategy that works for short films in general, or do you guys have something in particular that you'd want to share?
Well, we don't have a style in particular. It's really like films that we fall in love with. That's what we like to distribute. So we got, I mean, the specter is so large at traveling. We like just last year we had a film like Brotherhood, the
Yeah,
short film that
yeah.
went. I think it's now at 200 selection around the world and hundreds of prize. An amazing film from Mariam Juber, and we distributed that film. It went all the way to the Oscars, and so we had this kind of film that is like pure drama, super realistic, very much heartfelt, and kind of the slow burner drama. And at the same time, we had this film called Ducking from Canadian director called Trevor Anderson, who is a short animated film about two huge dick meeting into space, and
Okay.
both and this has a tremendous career as well, like I think almost 100 selection now. And but that's how broad is our specter, and
Mm.
we like to steer different emotion. We like to bring different ways of making film, telling stories of different length. I mean, yeah, it's just like a question of vibe, and that's how
Mm.
we shape our catalog every year around, like I said, 20 titles. And we receive almost 200 film a year plus the one we scout in festival and stuff like that. So yeah.
So, what's the marketing strategy that you guys involve? Is there because a lot of filmmakers, at least, they're more concerned with the making of the film, but I feel that seldom do they know about the life after, and that the movie has a life after, and you have to sustain that just as much.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think that's something a filmmaker and producers became aware of, like in the past 10 years. 10 years ago, distribution was, fringe. People were like, why should I pay you guys to work with you? Or what's the point? I can send it around here in festival, like in my country, and that's it. That's all, But like I said, value of short film really kind of cranked up. And now people understand why it's important to get a good festival run out of your short film. And I mean, like you said, it takes so much resource to make just a short film, and you ask all these people to work on your vision and to share their talent and to pour their soul into that. If you're not to do as much work to share the film, how does that make sense?
Mm.
You have to find a way to kind of put on the stand all those efforts, that made that film. So I think people are aware of that. And for us, it's really about, the strategy is really about getting a good festival run out of the films. And for every film, we build custom strategies. We have after 13 years, we have a very broad and integral vision of what is the festival circuit, in the world. And since we work with so much different kind of film, we know, what festival is pretty much looking for in terms of contents. So that's where we're targeting our submissions, So of course, for almost all of our film, we have these, triple A festival that we try our luck to get into, but these are super hard and sometimes kind of a stroke of luck for you to get in there. So we have to back that with some, let's say, A festival that are maybe less known for the broad audience, but are very well established in the short film world and offers great showcase, of what's the best in short film at this time. And these are still festivals that will get attention of the industry, So we're backing that up with that. And then we dig deeper on the DNA of the film. And we see, okay, is there a genre that is exploited? Is there a niche audience we want to get with that, And then we will complete the strategy with those more niche avenue for the film. And on top of that, of course, we'll sprinkle all those national festivals that we want to get into. And we will arrange all of that in a calendar that is like maybe 1.5 to 2 years. And where there's like kind of where we will aim for a big start and then just open the valve from there to spray the film all around the world and build momentum around it, So that's a bit like that I would say is the core of how we work at traveling right now. And after that will be sales and will be online showcasing of the film and so on.
And when you're formulating the strategy, are you looking at the assets that you have to provide to them as well? Can you break that down for us? Like as a distribution company, what assets are you taking care of apart from just making sure that the deliverables for each festivals are met?
You mean by assets? You mean like material that the festival asked for?
Yeah.
Okay, get that. Well, it's pretty standard for all of our film. Like our selection kit, when we get a film of ours selected, what will be in there is normally a 1-pager sheet with like all important information: where the film was made, language, subtitles, key cast, key crew, short synopsis around 50 word. Short bio around 50 word. We'll put the career of the film in there, and we will put the filmography of the director, and we will put like main contact to reach us out. So our contact and the production contact and maybe the director contact. Mm-hmm. So there will be that, and then we will always provide 3 to 5 stills, high resolution stills that we took from the film. Striking images that kind of paint in one look what is it about, and endearing images. Picture from the director, portrait if possible. We will have subtitle files in English as well with the time code. We will ask the production to cut a trailer for the film, short trailer between 30 seconds and 1 minute. We will have a digitalized version of the poster that we will share as well. And I'd say that is kind of our basic, the basic assets we provide to festival. Sometimes some production will go a bit further. They will put some kind of a nice press kit, with in their images, director statement, more big of a document. And what else? Sometimes when, back in the days when there were festival and you could travel in the world, well, you remember that time? Well, we do some promo stuff. So we would do maybe T-shirts if we find a good concept. We would do stickers. We would do buttons or pins, cool postcard that people can use, So at that point, your imagination can go a long way, So yeah, that's about it. And we will provide as screening copies We will provide either digital format on our FTP server that festival can download. We will provide one H.264 version that is subtitled in English with a data rate that is 50 megabit per second. So it's, even if though H.264 is kind of a light compressed format, there's still a lot of data in the images.
Yeah.
We will also provide a ProRes 422 with English subs. And in most cases, we will also have a digitalized DCP that is available on our server, our distributor server.
But I wouldn't they? Well, again, that takes the conversation back to physical presence in terms of the festival, because the DCP would only be used for projection then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're right. Right now, there is festival that are projecting live.
Okay.
We've seen that in the past week in the United States, in Spain, and Italy. Their format is not like in normal cinema room. It's in more like a drive-in, cinepark, format, exterior screening, and these guys sometimes requested us DCP.
Okay, and the you were talking about the digital poster. So, as a distribution company, do you suggest or even ask for an editable version, so that if you guys need to make changes, is that something that you guys worry about? Is it something that directors or producers should
like adding
think about?
all roles of selection on your poster? Is that what you
Laurels, but also if you need to sort of for different festivals, if you need to customize it, is that something that you guys look at as well, or is it something that the posters is made separately and then you guys get it once it's done?
Good question. Yeah, most of like poster and trailer, we don't produce them in-house at Traveling. We ask like production to take care of that with an artist of their choice. And then if they want to edit it, they have this resource to go to. But normally festival don't really ask us to edit poster. They want like kind of the original version of it. They don't care if you have laurels from big festival on them. It's no problem. But they don't want a pizza of laurels either, So yeah, but it's a good. I think it's an interesting and good tools, the poster, and it kind of sheds another light on your film. Sometimes you can say stuff with the poster that maybe stills aren't saying.
Yeah, because I mean, the way I look at it is that when you're distributing your film in different countries, to sometimes they want to localize it to sort of give it that flavor, so it resonates with audiences as well.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, if the festival would ask us if they could change stuff on a poster to, I don't know, maybe put some mention that are in their own language, I would say, go ahead and do it.
And especially now, you mentioned that there was a time where you'd actually travel to film festivals and you'd sort of market the film and meet filmmakers. Can you speak a little bit about how festivals are important in that aspect, where you get to sort of source talent as well, or see new filmmakers, get a conversation starting? Has there been an instance for Traveling distribution where you've sort of gotten a filmmaker on board, or through festivals you sort of built a relationship?
Yeah, of course. Like for the past 10 years, we've been to many festival that have market, but also festival that are, I don't know, smaller but cool, or bigger festival that not necessarily have market, but are where you meet some, interesting folks anyway. So we've been all around, man. There's 4 of us at Traveling, and we kind of exchange the turn for, who goes when in which festival. And I think festivals are super important, and it's very sad actually that because of COVID we're kind of we can't enjoy and take advantage of those events, because they're important in so many ways. Like, first, like for us as distributor, it's really like meet in markets. It's meeting those buyers, keeping the relation fresh, updating them in live with kind of that passion in your eyes about what is your new stuff, what you will send them, because they have to see it. You will meet also newcomers, new players that can open new avenues for your catalog as well. There's a chance also, if the filmmaker's not at the festival but you are there because there's a market, it's your chance to speak, for the filmmaker, because we consider ourselves kind of the extension of that team, So we like to share that kind of energy that our film carried through. And so for that, it's super important. As distributor, you don't shake hands or deal sales in festivals. A lot of time buyers are overwhelmed with all the stuff they receive, but you still got the chance just to keep it alive, and this image of you and your company and the film you present is still fresh. So when they get back to the office and you send them the mail, they're like, yo, like I wanted to see, I thought about Alex all weekend long, and I couldn't wait to watch his film, So I think that's important for us, and as well as meeting new talents. Like we have the chance to have very good contact with many big festivals like Sundance or TIFF, and they will send us their programmation before the festival so we can watch all films. And a lot of them don't have distributor yet because they just started their run. And I mean, every time we fall in love with one or two titles, and then when we get there, we kind of make something happen, a rendezvous happen with producer or filmmaker or both, and we meet them and we try to, see how we can work this out. And many a film of our catalog kind of the partnership came that way. But as a filmmaker, festival is great because I'm also a filmmaker, and I had the luck to travel quite a bit with my film. And man, festivals are just like an occasion to remind yourself you're not alone in this crazy
that's true.
adventure, right?
Yeah, we're all, all the filmmakers are sort of on that same journey to tell those stories, and you get a little bit of hope, I guess, with film festivals.
Yeah, you get hope, man, and you. It's like this kind of. I think a lot of filmmakers share that. Are kind of quite sensitive person, I think we feel a lot, and this kind of vibration is not in your everyday life. Well, it's not in mine. Lucky of you if it is. But getting along all those people that kind of vibe on the same wave, it's just fuel for future endeavor when you come back to write. And I don't know, like for you, but for me, I kind of I kept contact with quite a few people I met throughout the years in festival, and some of them are still go-to person, like for when I want feedback on new scripts or edits of my film, or just when I'm writing and kind of lost and asking for direction, or So these meetings are super important. And I'd say at last that also meeting the crew, the awesome crews that are programming those festivals is super important. These guys are real lovers of short film. They see them all, and they can talk to you about your film like no one can. And that's very exciting,
So you're talking about programming. So that's that's a natural segue for me, because traveling distribution programs as well. So how are you guys, what's the strategy over there, and what are you guys looking at, when you're programming your films? Like, do you program them in chunks and then give them to festivals, or do they get in touch with you and request you to program from your existing catalog?
We've been requested both, but most of festival that come to us to program is like they want a special kind of carte blanche from our catalog throughout the years. Sometimes it will be a best of, sometimes it will be around thematics or stuff like that. Sometimes they will invite us there to present the showcase. And other time is we are programming for kind of a cultural center around Quebec. We do that as well, mostly around specific thematic. And we also have a short film festival we started 7 years ago. It's called Le Long Weekend School. It's a small, very intense 3 days of programmation. We have 9 program, and it's because traveling is in a small city in Quebec. It's called Trois-Rivières. And we were like, we're based here. Most of people don't know what we're doing, but we're known a lot around the world in our milieu. And we were like, we need to bring back what the awesome film we see. We need to bring that back here, you know? So it started 7 years ago. And for that, I will watch like between 400 and 600 film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I see a shitload of film. I see a lot of short film. And again, it's the same basic as for our catalog. I will program on very on me falling in love with some of these titles, you know, and kind of puzzling them together and building something that is engaging from our crowd. So there's no application to our festival. It's just me kind of sourcing those films all around.
I mean, I completely understand when you say that you sort of fall in love with some of these movies, because you mentioned Brotherhood. That I saw that movie and I was completely floored. I fell in love with it, and you know, I'm so glad that I can be able to share that movie, because there was something about it that was so intangible, but you feel like, you know, that movie needs to travel. You know, that story needs to travel. Yep. And I think that's one of the best parts about being a programmer. Even though I'm new to it, I've always loved watching movies, and you know, it's watching short films, or as many as I have seen in the last you know, a couple of months or whatever. It's quite an education as well, you know, because we're also used to watching feature films, but there's a whole different aesthetic to looking at short films.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Like a program of short film of an hour and 15 minutes, let's say, man, it makes you travel. It makes you travel like around the globe. It can make you travel around the globe in an hour, but it can make you travel inward, inside yourself and in your head in an hour, in places that are sometimes totally opposite. And this is a wild ride. And, you know, some festivals are so good at programming. And this experience it's unique, you know. And I think it's something that you will never be able to take from short film, and that is unique to short film. And that's how I like to see short film. I like to see short film bundled together in an awesome way, where there's a dialogue between all of those films, and at the same time they can move us to extremes, you know. And yeah, that's what's so awesome about short film.
I also feel that, you know, short films, because people generally don't have the, you know, their focus on it all the time, because not too many people gravitate towards them, you know, for whatever reasons, because they look at feature films as the end all and be all of things. So you get to experiment with short films on so many things, not with just how you make the movie, but, you know, the subject matter as well. And those you that's why you get to see a lot more interesting stories that you would generally not see in features, because you know, there's more of a risk over there.
Yeah, you're totally right. And you're striking a very a chord in my heart, because for me that's the like, you can gamble with short film. You can risk it all. Because there's nothing to lose, and for me a lot of gain. in that short film crazy stuff. Even if you're not getting attention and awards, anything, if you do short film properly, if you risk it, if you gamble, if you're going into strange corner or explore subject or go inside you through that medium, you will come out of the short film experience changed. And this is something that is on a human scale. You can do that. Features film is much harder to keep on a human scale, but short film you can. And that's, I think, another crazy strand about short film and why it's so interesting to watch.
I agree. With short films not having this sort of focus as feature films, what do you see in terms of distribution? Like, what are the difficulties to distribute short films or get them, out in the world, to get as many eyeballs on them? And what do you see that what the future holds for distributing short films in general? Even without the pandemic.
Right. Well, I think the pandemic is kind of accelerating something that was already kind of under the wave now, that was like changing the face of short film. Since there's so much content, and I think like the quality's never been that high with all this content. 10 years ago, I would have told you like a good film will find its way, good film with a good distributor that knows, those festivals, and you'll find a way to get noticed. But now I'm wondering if it's enough. And I'm also asking myself, so what, we have to find another way to get the content through, having a good film, I don't think is quite enough now. And I think all this kind of marketing you've seen in the pandemic around short content that would pop out and stuff like that, maybe it's kind of an insight into the future. By that I mean, maybe a distributor is not only somebody submitting, or your job after you've done your film is not only submitting, but kind of building the buzz around your film, trying to build a fan base around. And I know like this stuff is discussed like ad nauseum by everybody, and I don't know if there's a recipe to that, But, there's bases you can cover to kind of try to build on that, but it's no magic trick as well. So there's an idea of timing and being recurrent with the message you put around the film, and trying to use those festivals like stepping so you can kind of keep building that buzz around the film. So I think it's more complex to get a film out there these days, since competition is so strong, and people are cranked up, and people want to get most out of these selections and most out of the career of their film. So I don't know. I think as well that online release of short film will take more and more value as well in the upcoming years. Yeah.
And so what does the future hold for traveling distribution as a company? And what are you seeing as for the filmmakers that are coming out in the future? What's do you have your eye on any particular filmmaker that you would really like to sort of have their films in your catalog? Or
well, we got eye for everybody. I mean, it's funny when you started that business, like back in the days where short film was so niche and nobody was known and stuff like that, you were always waiting to be surprised, and the surprise could come any days from anybody, and I think we still kept that vibe. We know there's a lot of talented filmmakers out there with names and awards, and some are filmmakers, but we try to have a fresh look every time we see a film and not keep not have those kind of shades of, oh yeah, oh is this a known filmmaker? Okay, well, this, we don't want that to influence our work. We want to work with any talented, from whatever they come from or what they did before or they didn't do. We don't care. We like what's under our eyes, and we try to stay sharp on that. And otherwise, I'd say that we try to implement those kind of solution of the times, to be more present on digital platform, to be better at marketing our film, our filmmakers. And we try to kind of optimize that with the little resource we got. So, I mean, it's a slow process, but we're onto it for sure.
And it's because you were talking about marketing and especially on social media platforms. What's your view on that? Because it's a because it's so new. You have people who sort of focus on just those things, just companies who focus on that. But do you think it actually serves the film? Because you don't really know in terms of the audience who are sort of looking at those materials or looking at that. There's never a guarantee of newer sort of quote unquote converts to that sort of to short films, or people who are definitely going to be watching those short films, like because social media doesn't really give you 100% in terms of they'll tell you the numbers of the number of people who are sort of looking at the assets, but there's never a guarantee for the people who will actually get interested or come on board as future viewers or whatever, right? What's your opinion about that, or how do you guys sort of
I think
go
like
about that?
Like you said, I think it's still kind of fairly new and uncharted territories in some ways, like for content that is more like creative content that is kind of a certain length, not clips, but films and stuff like that. But the platform knows now that there's an interest in good quality streaming. It's no secret for anybody, and platform tends to give you more and more metadata, so you have a better understanding of who's watching your film. Do they watch it all? And the demographic of people watching it, where in the world. So this is getting interesting. Also, I'd say right now at Traveling, how we work it is like we try to have this kind of great festival runs and get those kind of badge of honors from people that curate and watch film and decide that yours fit. We try to get that because it still have a lot of values. But now it's like systematically we try to get at the end of that process or at a good time during that process an official online release with platform that have either large audience like Vimeo staff pick premiere, Omleto, stuff like that, or platform that will pay a significant amount for an online release, and I think my view is I hope that platform will engage more and more with the content of creator by giving money to have this exclusivity to release, because it's not all across the board right now. And I think even though the platforms offer you 1,000 and under 1,000 of viewers, I mean, this hard cash it kind of really makes a difference in the life of short filmmakers. And I'm pretty sure all of these guys know that. And I really cross my fingers so they kind of make that mandatory. So when they sign you to premiere because they think they're good, they also put their money where their mouth is, And it would be just another incentive to get this great content online, without waiting 2 years before it happens,
And in your opinion, which platform is is the most friendly in terms of providing that incentive, that monetized incentive for short filmmakers?
Uh, Amleto have a revenue share. Uh, we don't know what it looks like yet. We've had just a few releases with them. It's kind of brand new. So we're curious to see about that. But frankly, there's not that much platform that offer like a substantial amount of money, like not enough for me to kind of brag about,
Mm.
yeah, they offer that kind of money. But, like you saw with South by Southwest, they were like one of the first major film festival that was impacted by COVID. And they
Yeah.
did an awesome job to kind of flip on a digital platform, and they paid like, I think they partner up with Amazon, and
Mm.
they paid like real money for quality content. And I hope this will see that again, because that was serious, respectful strategy, and they had the incredible output. One of our film called No Crying at the Dinner Table by Caroline Guyenne,
Yeah.
short doc. It screened at one best student doc or best doc, I think, at South by. And it was like, it had a huge buzz on the internet. Barry Jenkins, the director of Moonlight, saw it, retweeted it, and and this, you see, this is interesting audience development that you don't necessarily have or notice in a festival. So this
Mm.
is like, we try to build on that. We try to see other opportunity like that to get our film online. Okay, we get it online, but if we have if we have money, interesting. If there's a chance Barry Jenkins or anybody like that will tweet about it, yeah, I think
Yeah.
maybe it's worth considering that kind of avenue.
Mm. Yeah, because again, I think a lot of filmmakers, they or at least from the ones that I've spoken to, they making shorts is such an important thing for them, because like you said, it's a stepping stone to sort of learning your craft, but also sort of getting your movies out there, and then sort of
Yeah,
stepping
and getting
stone
to a
to
feature at
a
some point,
feature.
right?
Yeah, getting to a feature at some point. But then the making of short films just becomes so much more difficult, because you got to finance that, and it's difficult to get people on board to give you the money, because at the end of it you don't see the monetized incentive of making short films. So it's intriguing that you're speaking about a platform that actually pay for content like that, for quality stories. But um, do you think that there would be anyone who's willing to actually have that, like a Netflix for short films, where you can browse by country, browse by themes, just because there is a website like Short of the Day, but
Sort of.
I'm not sure if Short of the Week, yes, sorry, which but I'm not sure if that's even monetized or how that
No, they
uh,
don't pay like last time. Like, look, I don't do personally sales at traveling. It's my colleague
mm,
Mo and Mary Pierre that are doing it. But
yeah.
from my understanding, they weren't paying for short film. They were doing a bit like Vimeo, so trying to give you a big audience. Like Nowness, I think, as well is doing.
Mhm.
So that's how they kind of repay you.
So
But just like you, I wish that maybe somebody gutsy enough will buy the rights in a in a significant way. Not only, but that's the thing, man. I mean, how much these platforms can give money when there's so much content out there, and so many people that are still will gladly screen for free,
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's a complex idea, and I have a hard time having kind of a cemented position. But maybe as we keep the conversation going about it between us, the distributors, filmmakers, maybe we can get to some kind of a consensus that, hey, let's try our best to get our content monetized, first, and then, let's see what are the other options. But yeah.
So, now that we're sort of come to talking about the future of the short film, like in terms of monetization, do you think that the distribution model is going to change in any way? Do you think that there are avenues for it to change?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, tools on the internet to distribute your film are more and more powerful, so that's helping. Do you have to go, like, I mean, now we're seeing that maybe our presence is not requested in festival that much. Will it come back after COVID? I don't know. I think there's really a lot of stuff happening, and we have to pay attention. So yes, it will change, but I still think like distributor job is important. Like, I think you want that person to partner up in your team that have this kind of professional perspective and contacts and kind of outlook in a broader scales to how to get your film out there. I think it will still be an important part of your team as a filmmaker. And also it's that, like, as a distributor but also as a filmmaker, like, I'm on the first line to see it, that it's a lot of job to answer all those selection. When you get a film off the ground, like Mariam that had 200 selection with Brotherhood, man, she can't, or her producer can't manage all of that. It's like, these guys, their job is producing film, directing film, So I think this third person that come in and help you out with all this stuff is great, because it keeps you, filmmaker, focusing on what you do best, and it's telling stories. So, but I'm sure it will change. It changed quite a lot since the past 10 years, but we'll see, man. But for all you guys out there, I'd say I still think like a good recipe to get your film out there is like, make a short film that will kick ass, that comes from your guts, that is risky, where you leave all on the table. Don't cut corner, put everything you got in there like it's your only shot. And then find the person who will do everything is possible to get you that festival run, that will get you those badge, that will work for that first big release, and then assure that this person knows the tides and the waves and when it's a good time to launch online, and kind of, end in a bang, and maybe propulse the film on a completely other scale online. But yeah, the film is still the key, man. I mean, so many good film out there. You got to be just one step above.
And in your opinion, what's the best way for a filmmaker to decide or to look at a distributor and say, you know what, that's the person I want to go with?
Watch short film, man. I'd say that's another advice I'd give you, man. Like, I didn't know film school, and being a distributor, learning the work of distribution, at some point I was like, I'm seeing so much short film and I think I can make one, I'm going to try that. And it worked. And the only way it worked, and I've been able to produce some good content, let's say, is that I've watched a ton of films and a lot of bad films, and it's important to watch them, bad films and good films, and when you're ready to look for a distributor, look at those good film you saw, watch the generic, the credits at the end, and normally you will see the name of the distribution company and sales company, and if you like the film, look at this company and then look at the track record of the film, which festival it's screened, and then contact these person, like contact the distribution company with your project, They have a website, they have a Vimeo channel where they put their stuff or whatever. Find a way to contact them and submit them your work. That's how we work, and we receive stuff from around the world, and don't be shy to try to work with who you think are the best. Like, go get these guys.
Okay. Well, Alexander, that's some really good advice, and thank you. It's been amazing to speak with you and have you speak to the people who are going to be watching the master classes for GIFF 2020. I wish you
Too, man. Thank you, Vivian.
it's I wish you all the best of luck for traveling distribution for yourself as a filmmaker, and I can't wait to see the stuff that you guys are going to be putting out very soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much, man. And I wish all the best to the Gandhara Independent Film Festival. We have some film in your programmation this year. I hope we'll keep that bridge open for the other years.
Yes, me too.
Awesome, man. It's because it's hard, like for us distributor, even though we try and we know the festival that are kind of in like Middle Eastern countries or African countries, it's still kind of hard to get your film released there. And man, it's like this door that you open for us, we really appreciate it. And let's keep on guarding this door open.
Yes, for sure, friend, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Cheers. Thank you, everybody. And I wish you a nice end of summer to y'all.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. So, guys, that was Alexandre Dostie. He's a distributor. He works with traveling distribution, and he's a filmmaker himself. It was amazing talking to him. And again, just echoing his sentiments. Short films are great to get yourself known, to tell your stories that you really feel passionate about, and you can take those risks with short films. So make your films, tell your stories, try to move the world with your stories because they're unique to you, and don't be shy to work with the distributors who are going to make sure that your films travel the world, no matter who they are. So check out Traveling Distribution's website. Get in touch with them if you want to. They're a great bunch of folks who are always ready to help. And I'll see you again for the next masterclass for Gandhara Independent Film Festival 2020. Take care. Bye-bye.